Time to hold your noses and take the nasty medicine today. Yep, we're going to talk about this week's national housing data and why that blasted interest rate is still over 7%. So stick around for all the fun. Hey everybody, Catherine Newman here. Thanks for stopping over, and you cannot shoot the messenger today.
It's not your fault.
As I share with you what's going on in the national housing market. We'll get to the local one soon, but right now for the national market, and why aren't we seeing those darn interest rates come down? It's annoying, isn't it? And I want to make this video brief.
Jesus Christ, great.
I know, right? Me, make anything brief. But before we get to all up in those details, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so I can keep you updated on a weekly basis of what's going on around here in Manatee and Sarasota County and, of course, the national market. So let's talk about wages and inflation first. The latest report from payroll processing company ADP, you've all heard of ADP, they showed that the U.S. added 184,000 jobs in February, which was way above their forecasts. Now, that number was a little worrisome when it comes to inflation because the percentage of wage growth for job changers, that's just people that change jobs, leapt from 7.6% year over year to 10% year over year, the highest figure they'd seen since July of 2023. Now, the very important Bureau for Labor Statistics data was just out, and their job number for February was expected to be, I think they said roughly 200,000 new jobs that they were expecting, but it was actually 275,000 jobs. So with that very strong jobs data, it's been kind of a tug of war in the bond, in the mortgage market. And you've heard the Fed members, I was listening to them the other day, the Fed members are saying things like, we're in no rush to cut the Fed fund rate. Well, I know they don't talk like that, but just my interpretation, people. But that kind of talk is helping to send the average 30-year mortgage rates back above 7%. But you know what? Here's the real interesting thing. According to, I was reading the other day, Mortgage News Daily, they said the residential real estate seems to be shrugging the higher rates off. Like, people aren't caring anymore. People gotta people, and people still gotta move. So that's what I'm seeing with my home buyers. They're just kind of tired of waiting for the perfect scenario to appear and, trying to time the market and that sort of thing. And I think they just either need to go ahead and buy, maybe they've had a job change, or they want to get their kids in a really great school district, or maybe they just want to move on with their lives. They want to live near family. They want to move to a different state to enjoy a different lifestyle. So I think that people have just come to the realization that they'd rather buy sooner, even with the rates where they are today, than to wait for some unpromised future rate decrease. And of course, they're concerned about higher home prices. And remember, a lot of buyers know if, and that's a big if, the rates do eventually go lower, and of course the numbers make sense for those people in whatever situation they're in with their mortgage, they know they can refinance later on. So that's really what I'm hearing from my buyers right now, and I would love to hear your thoughts. Where are you in all of this living in limbo with the market and mortgage rates and prices? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so please make your comments below so we can have a conversation about that as well. Now, because I already mentioned housing prices, let's talk about where the experts are expecting home prices to go over the rest of 2024 and a little beyond. So after 2 months of a slight, and I mean 0.1% month over month decrease in prices, CoreLogic's National Home Price Index jumped 0.7% month over month in February, which was way above their own expectations. Now, CoreLogic now expects a 3.1% price growth over the next 12 months, when just a few months ago, they were only looking for a 2.5% price growth. So what are the other experts forecasting for national housing prices? Where is the price growth going? So let's look at this graph here. This is the 2024 home price forecast, percent appreciation or depreciation as of 4/2024. So this was just a week ago, people, on April 2nd. So if you see here over here on the left, there's an average of all of these. But let's look at Goldman Sachs. They were saying that there would be a 5% increase in 2024 of home prices, right? Home price forecast. The Mortgage Bankers of America said 4.1%. Zillow, our friends over at Zillow, said 3.5%. Fannie Mae said 3.2%. Freddie Mac said 2.5%. HPES said 2.4%. And the National Association of Realtors said 1.4%. So I think you see the pattern. These are the experts, not just in the housing industry, but the mortgage industry, the financial sector, Wall Street, all of the big dudes and dudettes that kind of run the financial sector of our country. They are all seeing a price appreciation growth for 2024. And the average of all of these came out to about a 3.2% increase for 2024. So if you're concerned that you're going to buy a house and it's just going to tank in price, well, according to the experts, that's not going to happen. It is going to appreciate somewhat this year, and a pretty good price, kind of back to normal pre-pandemic levels where price growth appreciation. Yeah, say that a few times. So we're going to see some growth appreciation. Now, of course, you can't just buy a house and sell it in a year and expect to have some big price growth. Now, that did happen during the pandemic for a lot of people. And unfortunately, a lot of people during the pandemic paid too much for their houses, and now they got to sit on it. But I think a lot of those people knew they just needed to move, and they knew they weren't going to sell it right away. So if you're in a position like most people are when you buy a home, it's good to hold on to it for 7 to 10 years. And really 10 years is kind of the benchmark for where people move again. And if you're on the fence about buying, waiting for prices to drop, and I'm not saying there aren't some good deals. I know in my market right now, we're going to see our local data in a second from Parrish, Florida, and Lakewood Ranch and Palmetto and those areas here in Manatee County in Florida. But in my market, we are seeing some price decreases, but not in other markets. I'm going to show you in a second. But there are some good deals to be had, but you've got to be ready to buy when those good deals present themselves. So if you're on the fence about buying because you think the prices are going to drop even lower, it's just not going to happen. Of course, as promised, we're going to talk now about my local market here in Manatee County. I'm only going to bring up 3 because there are so many zip codes in Manatee and Sarasota County. I'm just going to bring up 3 just to give you an idea of what's going on here. So let's look here at my Parish, which is my hometown, Parish 34219 zip code. And you'll see that the median price now for homes is $444,990. So right at $445,000. You guys, that is only a 0.1% decrease. Okay? So it's not a lot of decrease. There are 606 active listings, and you'll see that has increased. We have more listings here. 19 in the last, this was done on April 5th. So 19 in the last 5 days. Today is the 10th. And the median days on the market for Parish 34219 is 77 days. So if you're selling your house right now, and I have a few listings here in Parish right now, they are staying on the market a little bit longer. Now let's look at 34202, which is the actual Lakewood Ranch area. So remember, Lakewood Ranch has a lot of different zip codes, and Bradenton is also a lot of those areas, and it's called Bradenton, but it's kind of considered Lakewood Ranch. And you'll see here at 34202 Lakewood Ranch, look at the median price. Look at this median price, people. $775,000. And of course that can change. That's just as of April 5th. Now that price has not decreased. It has stayed very steady. So if you're expecting prices to drop in Lakewood Ranch, right now it ain't happening. Now let's look at the active listings here. Lakewood Ranch, as of April 5th, 299. That is a lot different than what we just discussed in Parish. Parish had 606. And the median days on the market in Lakewood Ranch, 34202, has been 63 days. And that, of course, has increased as well. So it's taking a little bit longer in Lakewood Ranch as well. That's normal, especially for us. This time of year, it'll be a little bit longer on the market. Now, these are only the market stats in these areas from March to now, to April 5th. So all of March to April 5th. So don't get your panties in a wad. I know that there's a lot less costly homes in Lakewood Ranch, and of course there are a lot more in Parish. I just want you to see what's going on, I'd say over the last 30 some days.
Chill out.
Now let's also look at one of our sister communities, which is Palmetto, Florida, 34221. That's where a lot of the new construction is going on. Now remember, Palmetto kind of hugs the bay and the river and kind of that was just a big area. There's not as much land left in Palmetto. A lot of farms, a lot of agriculture. Of course, I'm sure eventually those will be sold and built upon too. That's kind of the way it is. But let's look at Palmetto and see what their stats have been from March to April 5th. See here, the median price during that time period is right at $417,000, and that hasn't changed either. And they've got 481 active listings for that time period from March to April. And their median days on the market is 55 days. So again, remember, this is just for that time period. So maybe that $775,000 median price that we're seeing in Lakewood Ranch, maybe that's just what was on the market and what closed and that sort of thing. There are homes that are less money, but you've heard me say it before, it is the truth. It does cost more to live in the 90210 of Florida, in these areas of Manatee County. The 90210 is Lakewood Ranch and its surrounding areas. Looking back at all three of these areas, Parrish, Lakewood Ranch, Palmetto, you can see that Parrish has a lot more active listings than those other areas. So remember, there's a lot of new construction going on in Parrish. It is the up and coming area. All kinds of new infrastructure going on. I've shared that with you guys before. So a lot of that just has to do with there's more inventory here. So that's probably why we've seen a slight decrease. But again, people, it is so slight. But there's more active listings here. So of course, when there's more supply and less demand, the prices do start to come down. But I think that's going to turn a corner and we're going to start seeing that go back to a more normal, zeroed out, mid-range level. So what does this all mean for buyers? You know, it just really means that you have to make a decision. The rates, they're still projected to go down a little bit by the end of the year, but honestly, we've been saying that since November of last year, that we're going to see them in the first quarter, go here in the second quarter. You can see this chart here. This is where they were projected to be in the first and second quarter, and we're just kind of not seeing that right now. And who knows how long it's going to take for the Fed to make a different decision where we start to see those rates go down. So you have to make a decision as a buyer for yourself. Do you really want to wait around for prices to go up, or do you just want to bite the bullet and find something that fits you and your lifestyle and your family and your needs and that sort of thing, and maybe think about refining later? Or you just want to sit tight for a while? This certainly is your option. If you need help with any of that, I really, really do encourage you to find a great local real estate agent wherever you are located in the country. If you're here or you're coming here, I'd love to chat with you and kind of talk about what your plans are and what your journey is like, what you're thinking about. Because I think you really do need a professional to help you know the local market, because you're not going to know these things, right? You can watch 5 million different YouTube videos about markets, but it's very important for you to have someone who is guiding you through what the local market is doing, where it's headed, and how it affects you for the rest of your investment here that you want to make wherever you're buying a home. So don't forget to leave some comments below. I'd love to hear what you're doing. Are you waiting it out? Are you on the sidelines? Are you waiting for the rates to drop? Or are you waiting for prices to drop? I know, I just told you it ain't gonna happen here. Could be happening where you live though. So more power to you. I really hope it does. I'm really rooting for buyers right now because it's a tough buyer's market. Again, if you'd like to chat, please reach out. I'd love to talk with you. Be honored to talk with you. I'm Catherine Newman. Please make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel so I can keep you updated on all the goings on. I will see you next time. Have a good week.